So yes, talking about liaising with other wedding suppliers, and sort of pick a few things that I've picked up over the years that might be helpful to you. You might know them already, but they might be helpful to you. Who knows? So the first thing to remember is that liaising with all the suppliers is a really good service that you can provide as a cake maker. And it's something that, you know, can be in amongst all your marketing and your advertising. You know, once you've booked me as a cake maker, I then sort everything else about the cake out. I will talk to the venue. I will talk to florists. I will talk to anyone that is going to be involved or anyone that I need to. So you as a couple won't need to do that. And of course, that takes the pressure off them. They haven't got to talk to the venue about when the cake's arriving, because I do all that. You know, all they do is show up and the cake is there. So do use that as a real sort of selling point. You know, I look after you as a cake maker. I make sure that everything's in place. I talk to everyone that I need to, so you don't have to. And I find that a lot of couples do appreciate that. They do like that. You know, if they haven't got a wedding planner to do it all for them, and not all of them do have, of course. And they've got hundreds of suppliers to talk to and liaise with and organise and stuff. And if you can just take one of those things, you know, one of those worries away, then that will help them grow. And they'll think, oh, thank goodness, something less for me to worry about. So, you know, make a point of talking about that, you know, in your marketing and, you know, in your brochures and all that kind of stuff. And something else you can do, I don't do this as much as I should, but ask your couples. I mean, I ask my couples, if I'm needing a florist, I'll ask them for florist details. I'll obviously ask them for venue details, but it's also worth asking them for photographer details and wedding planner if they have one, and anyone else that you might get some use out of, for want of a better word. I often find photographers when I get to the venue and they're sort of milling about, in which case I say, oh, hello, you're the photographer, here's my card. I don't suppose you'd send me a picture of them cutting the cake, would you? And they go, yeah, you should. You know, they don't have a problem with sending you a photo of your cake and the couple with your cake. But what I should do more is ask the couple beforehand, because I don't always see the photographer. Ask the couple beforehand, and way before, you know, when you're sort of in booking consultation, you know, a sort of year ahead, ask them to pass on any details. You don't really want to be doing that 2 weeks before the wedding, because they're going to be up to their necks with it. But do it as soon as you can. So, you know, when you can, give me the details of your photographer. That would be really useful, and so on and so forth. So you can then be liaising with these people. You know, you can be following them on Instagram. You can make connections with them, and get to know them a bit before the actual wedding itself. Recently I've had loads of liaisons. That sounds a bit dodgy, doesn't it? I've had loads of liaising with florists, because I've had lots of fresh flowers to put on cakes. And the couples will, of course, give me the details. And so I've been emailing them, oh, we'll follow you on Instagram. We followed each other and we've been chatting on Instagram and that kind of thing. So again, I always say that, you know, if you can connect with all these other suppliers, you have potential to tap into their audience as well. Because, you know, the number of times that I've got bookings because someone has seen a comment that I've made on a venue's post, you know, and so on and so forth. So, you know, get connected with all these people, get connect, particularly on Instagram, because that's where, you know, all the love happens for weddings, really. You know, start to look at their accounts, start to chat to them on their accounts, and they will hopefully do the same to you, which of course widens your reach as well anyway. So do all that. So let's think about the different suppliers that you might need to liaise with. There's two main ones. And the main one, of course, is the venue of the wedding. And these can vary greatly. You know, how they communicate with you and what they ask for can vary greatly. it depends whether they are a very big, corporate concern, right down to sort of the family-owned big house that perhaps have only just started weddings, or they don't do many of them, or they keep it very, very simple. So you'll probably find that the larger corporate venues, hotels that have a chain, that kind of thing, they are probably going to want to be more, they'll want your, ingredients list, they'll want your insurance, they'll want to be a bit more, they want things on file. There's one venue near me, I probably mentioned this before, but they ask for, can we have the ingredients, 2 weeks before? To which I say, no, you can't, because I haven't bought them yet. You can have them when I bought the ingredients, because I don't know if the supermarkets or the people making the ingredients have changed the ingredients in the ingredients. You know how it goes. Us bakers, we have to check packets, don't we, all the time? So I say, you can have it once I've done it. Some venues, like the ingredients list emailed, some say, oh no, bring it on the day. So it really varies. It really varies. There are some where, for example, when I did, in fact, it was only one of the weddings at Hever Castle, the other one didn't do this. Hever Castle, big sort of venue in Kent. And the first wedding I did there, I got an email that was sent out to all suppliers. So the couple were obviously asked for emails for all their suppliers. And I got a standard email for everybody, with details of where the venue was, where to park, yada, yada, yada. In fact, that was the one where the wedding was at 7 in the morning. The guests will be arriving by 7:30, so you must be set up by 6:30. Which was great, seeing as he was about an hour and a half's drive from me. So it was a very early start that morning. But yeah, so it varies from that to the venue, and you email them and you say, oh, it's nice to hear from you, kind of, why are you emailing me, kind of thing. So generally, as a rule of thumb, what I will do is, unless I've heard from the venue already, I will at least 2 weeks before the wedding date, often more. Often I'll try and do it, say 3 or 4 weeks before. But I will email the venue and I'll say, hello, I'm Annie, I'm Leading Lady Cakes. I'm coming on such and such a date for so-and-so's wedding with the cake. I ask them, I say, what time do you want me? I usually offer a sort of default time of 11 a.m. I say, usually I deliver at 11 a.m. Just let me know if that's, if you prefer it later, because some prefer it later, because if the cake's going in the room that the ceremony was in, there's a big changeover and they don't want it before. If I haven't got another wedding that day, I'll say, just let me know, because I'm completely flexible that day. Just tell me the time. If I have got another wedding, I'll tell them that I've got another wedding and I'll have to sort of work it out. Usually they're absolutely fine with that. So you need to establish the time that you're going. I always ask about, if I don't know the venue already, I ask about parking. I ask about where the cake needs to sort of enter the building, if you like, because some will, some have like a tradesman's or kitchen's entrance. I did one a couple of weeks ago. And in fact, the wedding person from the hotel emailed me and said, oh, yes, you can either go around the back or you can go in the front, either. But when I got there, I thought, right, well, I'll go in the front because it's a lot easier. I went in the front and someone there was it was almost embarrassed that I'd gone in the front. Oh, no, you must go around the back. You must go around the back. And actually the back was really difficult to find. It took me ages to find the door. So it's worth establishing where it is you've got to park and, deliver the cake. If it's a town or city venue, or like in Eastbourne on the seafront, there's lots of hotels along there, but they don't have parking. So you'll need to sort of say, where can I park? Where is it possible? Do you have a drop-off zone? All that kind of stuff, so you can be prepared. I don't like the venues where I haven't got parking. They make me anxious. I like to have a nice big car park right by the door, and then, you know. So, and ask about steps as well, because sometimes this makes a difference to whether I've stacked the cake beforehand or whether I take it in bits. If I know I'm going to have to go up loads of steps, I'll take it in bits and then assemble it when I'm there. Whereas there are a couple of venues that I know quite well that it's just through the door and there it is. So sometimes I'll assemble because I know I've only got to carry it a short distance. So that can make a difference as well. And then is there anything else I need to know? You know, because you never know. They might throw you a curved ball and say, oh yes, I don't know. The venue will be closed at this point because of something or other. I don't know. So just ask for as much information as you can. What I also do in that initial email is I say, I've got insurance documents if you would like me to send them. Just let me know and I'll email them to you. I don't attach them as standard. I just sort of say, if you want them, let me know. Oh, hello, Valerie. Hello. Some of the venues say, yes, please, can I have them for our records? Some aren't bothered at all. It really, really varies. Generally, the bigger corporate ones want it. The smaller ones aren't bothered. And the same with like an ingredients or, you know, information, allergens, and all that kind of stuff. I say, I'll provide that. I can do it on the day, or I can email it to you beforehand. And some say, oh, yes, you can email it. With the one venue, can you know, email it 5 years before you've actually made it. And some say, oh yeah, email it, that's great. We'll deal with it. Or no, just bring it on the day, that's fine. Yes, so that's what you need to ascertain. So you need to ascertain time of delivery, parking steps, anything difficult about the delivery, offer your insurance, offer your ingredients. And then I sort of do a very chatty, oh, lovely to meet you, blah, blah, blah. And I follow them on Insta. The vast majority are on Insta. It's weird, actually. Sometimes I look up a venue on Insta and they're not there at all. I'm thinking, how are you? Oh, you're missing out here. But anyway, so I'll generally, you know, go on and follow them if I don't already. Bear in mind that particularly if it's a smaller venue, they might have a part-time coordinator who doesn't, you know, work 24/7. The big corporates will have, but the smaller ones won't. So if you leave it too late, you might find that they don't catch your email until really close up to the wedding, which is why I recommend you sort of do at least 2 weeks, because then, you know, if they're only part-time and perhaps they only work Thursday, Friday, Saturday or something, they will have at least seen it in time before the wedding. So do bear that in mind, because I know of quite a few venues where they have coordinators that work remotely. You know, the venue itself is perhaps family run and they employ someone to do all the admin from home, and then they come in on the day to sort out the organising. So it really varies how, you know, different venues work. So that's venues. Florists, if you are needing to liaise with the florist, if you are, for example, putting flowers on the cake, or if there's sort of flowers going on the cake table or anything like that, again, about 2 weeks before, I will email them. And I do prefer emails. I know some people that ring people up all the time, but I prefer emails because then you've got everything in writing. When they reply to you, you've got it in writing. You haven't got to have a conversation where you've got to remember things or write things down. So I always do email. With the exception of a florist that I used in August, and I emailed them and they didn't reply. And I thought, oh, that email's gone somewhere into cyberspace. So I did give them a ring. But usually I email because then I've got it all on record, because I've got a shocking memory and I can never remember anything. Oh, Louise, I have one venue where the events team doesn't work weekends. Yeah. Yes. So you have to sort it out all the week before because they're not there on the actual day. Absolutely. I was wondering, Louise, do you ask for a contact for the day? You know, if something's gone wrong on the day, who do you contact? They must have someone actually there in charge of everything that's happening, surely. You'd think, wouldn't you, that they'd have someone there. But yes, that is, that is the case sometimes, isn't it? They work remotely, they don't get involved in the hands-on of it all. Yeah. So where were we? Oh yes, florists. So sort of 2 weeks before, I say, hi, I'm Annie here from Leaning Lady Cakes, and I'm supplying a cake for so-and-so, and they have asked for fresh flowers to be placed on it. Now, usually I will say something like, I believe they've told you that they want flowers for the cake, because when I've done the booking, I've sort of said, you want fresh flowers, you must ask your florist to provide them. Yes, I don't provide them. In fact, I made a mistake. One wedding I had in August, I must have worded the booking details incorrectly, because when I contacted the florist, she said, oh no, I haven't got flowers for the cake down. The bride said that you were going to sort all that. So in the end, it actually cost me £15 because I wasn't going to argue with the bride, because she paid, I think, £500 for the cake or something. I thought, well, £15, I'm going to let that go. She was rather an odd bride, though. She did, yeah, there were a couple of things she did all the way through that were a little bit unusual. But most other couples, when you say you need to ask your florist to provide flowers for you, they will do that. Rather than sort of say, oh no, I haven't got any record of that. That was fun. So yes, so of course the main thing that you're liaising with the florist for is to make sure that they're providing you with safe flowers. So I say something like, hi, I'm making the cake for so-and-so's wedding. Sorry to trouble you, but I just need to make sure that the flowers are safe for the cake. And I usually mention insurance somehow. I say something like, oh, my insurers wouldn't be very happy if I allowed toxic flowers on the cake, make a little bit of a joke of it, really, because at the end of the day, if you do allow toxic things on the cake and someone gets ill, your insurers will go, no, you put something on the cake that no. So actually using insurers as the reason why you're being very picky is quite a good one. The vast majority of florists, particularly the smaller sort of independent ones, are really, yeah, anything you need, yeah, or either they know about the fact that gyp and eucalyptus are toxic, or they go, oh no, I didn't know that, then that's fine, I can provide whatever. Occasionally I'll get more of a corporate florist who say, we're providing this, and this, just use whatever you like from that selection. So I go, oh yeah, I can use that, can't use that. Only once really have I had a florist who got a bit shirty about it, who said, oh no, it's absolutely fine, everyone puts gyp on their cake. So in that instance, I actually went back to the bride and I said, I'm really sorry, but your florist is insisting that I put gyp on the cake, whereas actually it's poisonous. You probably didn't realize that it's poisonous. Do you still want me to put it on the cake? And the bride will always go, no, of course not. So, if in doubt, default to the bride. But that was only one. Although, no, I did have a wedding planner once who got a bit shirty about, God, this was ages ago. I'd made a cake, a classic cake. I don't do them anymore, but it was like a basic, no frills. You just get the cake, nothing else on it. Usually that was a collection, but in this instance, the bride had paid me more to deliver it. So I delivered it, and it was quite a way away. I was a bit puzzled as to why she booked it, but anyway. And I delivered it, and it was to a tiny little village hall somewhere. And when I got there, there was a wedding planner there who was fussing over all sorts of things. And I said, oh, you know, here's the cake. She said, oh, well, the flowers are here if you'd like to put them on. I said, well, I'm really sorry, but no, I've only had the cake booked. I haven't had the, you know, extras booked, and that is an extra. Oh, but don't you want your cake to be? I said, oh no, I'm really sorry, but A, I haven't bought anything for it, and B, that's all that was booked. You know, it's another hour's worth of whatever to put flowers on the cake. And I saw in the buckets that they had, you know, a couple of toxic bits. And I said, actually, you know, you shouldn't be putting, you know, those on there anyway. Oh no, it's fine. Oh no, it's fine. We'll do it. Oh, it's fine. So I just left them to it. I took photos of it as the cake as I'd left it. I thought it's up to them if they want to put stuff on it. It's, you know. So hello Charlie. See you all. But most of them are fine. I mean, you know, sometimes you feel an eye roll. You feel that they've read your email and gone like that. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. You know, your job is to make sure your cake is safe to be eaten. And if that means being, you know, standing up for yourself a little bit. But say use the insurance thing. That's they can't argue with that, can they? You know, my insurance would be cancelled if anything. If I was known to have put something on the cake that wasn't safe. So yeah, flower list. There is, I don't know if it's in the guides or I put it somewhere or I can repost it. I found once a brilliant so it was a blog from someone who lists all the edible flowers, safe flowers and toxic flowers. And I use that whenever I put fresh flowers on the cake, because I just scroll through and think, yep, I can use that. No, I can't use that. If it's in the group somewhere, but if you need it again, I'll post it up again because it's a really useful website. And sometimes I actually send that to the florist as well. Look, these are the ones that I, you know, this is the list I go by. And the other thing I say to them is, you know, I'm arriving to set the cake up at whenever. I mean, most florists will be at the venue really early to set up all the flowers. And you'll find that what they'll probably do is just leave yours in a bucket or something, or you know, a bunch somewhere for you. Never have I got to a venue and found that there's been nothing left for me at all. So yes, and of course, you know, follow on Insta, go and have a look at their page, chat to them, engage with them, all that kind of stuff. And also after the event, you know, if you've used or liaised with a florist, you can tag them into all the posts for that wedding, you know, and get their potential audience as well, because they will tag you into theirs and so on and so forth. It's all very mutual. You know? And you might find that you get a few more followers from that as well. You never know. So that's florists. And then, yeah, on the day, as I mentioned before, anyone that's there, I will, you know, I will chat to, I will exchange business cards with, say, photographers, quite a few photographers I've, you know, chatted to. Oh, you know, if you can give me a picture of the cake, and they all say, yeah, not a problem, I'll send you some. You know, follow them on Insta, all that kind of stuff, share socials. Wedding planners. So if the venue doesn't have a planner, but they're using someone independently, but on Saturday, the venue that I was at, the lady that was there saying, oh yes, I'm the wedding planner, something or other company. And she followed me on Insta, I followed her, you know, so on and so forth. And we, in fact, while I was doing the cake, we were sat chatting, and I was telling her about how I set my business up and what I did before, and she was telling me about hers. So it's quite nice, really. You know, making those connections, because you never know when that one connection and that, you know, one comment on someone else's Insta might lead to a couple going, oh, that looks interesting, I'm going to have a look at that. And they, you know, you never know. The more connections that you make, the better. You can never be disadvantaged by making more connections. That's the way it is. No. So yes, and then what I generally do is I will sort of just keep the couple updated. Yes, I've talked to the venue, it's all sorted. Yes, I've talked to the florist, all sorted. Just so that they can be sort of reassured that everything's underway. I mean, you know, most of the couples that I have are fairly laid back, but you do occasionally, of course, get the, you know, anxious. Usually the brides can be a bit anxious. Oh, is it ready yet? Oh, is it ready? So just giving them those emails as you go just helps to sort of, you know, make them less anxious. You know, particularly if, you know, if you book your wedding cake 18 months in advance and you've got the florist details and the venue details at that point, to then not hear from them, you know, from you at all, right up to the wedding, there can be a bit of, oh, are they still coming? You know, ooh, have they forgotten about me? So it is worth you know, a little hello, yes, everything's sorted, have a lovely day, blah blah blah. It goes a long way with that. And of course, all this, I mean, particularly with the venues, there was one venue that I did over the summer. It was a new venue that I've actually since done again. But I sent, you know, my email about, you know, parking, arrival times, ingredients, and so on and so forth. And the feedback I got from the bride was, oh, they were really impressed with how professional you were. You know, how organized you were, how you gave them information. So you are giving, you know, these wedding suppliers the impression that you know what you're talking, even if you don't, pretend that you do. That you know what you're doing, everything's all right with you, you know, anything that you're dealing with is going to be fantastic. So, you know, the more of a professional impression you can give to all these people, the absolute better, because they will remember you. You know, if you go in and sort of, oh, it's only my first, don't ever say, oh, it's my first wedding, even if it is. Don't. Give the air of someone who's been doing this for a while, and give the air of confidence, because people are assured by confidence. Okay, it's okay, you know what you're doing, you know, they haven't got to worry about you because you know what you're doing. And people will remember that, you know, and people will, there's a saying, isn't there, that people don't necessarily remember what you do, they remember how you made them feel. So if you made them feel reassured, and you made them feel less anxious, and you made them feel excited for what was coming up, they're more likely to remember that and remember you, you know, and pass recommendations on to others because of that. So there we go. So I hope, oh, never mind, Jill, I've almost done anyway, my lovely. Because that's sort of the main ones, the main suppliers that you are going to deal with. So venue is the main one, florist possibly, although, you know, I don't always deal with florists. If I'm doing sugar flowers and things, I don't. It may be that, yeah, and photographer, perhaps planner. I can't think of any suppliers that you would necessarily have a major need to liaise with. Possibly the caterers, I don't know. But, you know, but if it were, you know, if I was needing to talk to other suppliers, I'd use the same sort of general email 2 to 3 weeks beforehand. Hi, I'm the supplier, you know, I'm supplying the cake at so-and-so's wedding. And then just ask about any details that you need to know about. So I hope that's been useful. Do let me know if you have any more input on those or any more tips on that, because the more the merrier, really, with that. If you've got any, you know, any incidents that you've had with suppliers that you think, oh, that would be good to remember next time, do pop it in the group, in the comments or whatever, because that would be really great to know about. Anywho, righty-ho. Oh, yes, the venue dresser. Yes. To check if they're adding anything to the cake table. Yes, that's a good point. Yes. Yeah, because you don't want sort of loads of stuff in the way and find you've only got sort of that space for your cake. But yes, that's a good point. Thank you, Louise. Righty-ho, I will leave it there. I shall book in another couple of lives for October, because we're nearly in October now. Let me know if there's anything particularly you want me to chat about, or I will just sort of see what comes up in the group and see what people might find useful. And, you know, I'll chat about anything really. So yes, so there we are. So have a lovely day, have a lovely week. If you're starting to go into wedding fair season, I've seen a couple of you know, pictures of wedding fairs and things. Do let us know how they go. Any tips that you have, share amongst us. That would be great. Otherwise, have a lovely end of September, and I will see you in October. Okie dokie. Toodaloo.